one of the most useful things that I've done for my business over the past year has nothing to do with a funnel, nothing to do with an AI tool or a social media strategy, nothing to do with a productivity hack. It's simply this: I show up at 6 a.m. each weekday morning, and I've done this since April of 2025. Not perfectly. I'll be honest, there have been some mornings where I've overslept. There are some mornings where I'm questioning why on earth have I started this. But in the main, my body operates now on autopilot. At 5:30, my eyes tend to just open and I'm ready to get onto my laptop at 6 a.m. to start my co-working. And I think this practice has taught me more about consistency than anything else that I've tried previously. So today, for day 3 of Project Freedom 46, I want to show you what my mornings look like. I want to share with you how this started and also unpack why having people expecting me each morning has been one of the biggest reasons why I've been able to be consistent and to show up. And as I share this with you, what I want is for you to start to think, what would change in your business if you dedicated 2 hours each day or each week to work on the things that actually mattered? You ring-fenced, you guarded, you protected some time and contributed that towards your business. What would change for you? So let me get into how this started. It actually started, as I said, back in 2025, before the LinkedIn Strategy Lab existed. Back then, I was wanting to build community on TikTok. So I decided that what I would do would be to set up a daily live stream where we co-worked essentially. So I announced it, I put it out there. I wasn't quite sure who was going to show up or if anyone was going to show up. But I started to build a regular co-working community that would turn up every 6 a.m. We would work on our own tasks, on our own initiatives, projects, whatever we had going on. And in between those focus sessions, we would come up for air. We would kind of have, just a brief, how are you getting on? People would type it into the chat. Then we'd get back to work. And we did that from April 2025 right up to November 2025. One of the highlights of the session, once we had concluded the co-working, we'd share, how did you get on? What did you achieve? What do you still have left to do? And then I would give them an encouraging word, right? I would find a quote from a Tim Ferriss or an Alex Hormozy, a Steve Jobs, and I would read out that quote and then unpack it, give some context in relation to the people that I knew were on the call. Essentially, I wanted them to start their day with a win. Before 7 a.m, they had a win under their belt and they could start their day feeling really motivated and pumped to just take on the day. So that is essentially how co-working began. In November of 2025, that was when the LinkedIn Strategy Lab began. So what I did was I moved it from TikTok into the Strategy Lab and made it part of the premium tier. So that was the second tier in the lab. So essentially, I started this to build community. But what I found was that it actually started to be a real benefit to me. It ended up being a real blessing to me. And I think this is one of the biggest lessons that I have taken from consistently showing up for co-working. I didn't need motivation anymore, right? I had built consistency. I had built a structure that made consistency easier. And in business, we're always talking about consistency, post consistently, send emails consistently, sell consistently, follow up consistently. But I think consistency isn't something that you are born with. You either have it or you don't have it. I think it's something that can be developed when you put a system and a structure and a process that you can slot into. I think essentially making it hard to not show up is the way that you're able to continue in the thing that you've said that you're going to do. So essentially for me, knowing that there could be even one person who was waiting for me to open the call was enough of a reason for me to get up and to get my bum onto TikTok initially, and then into the Zoom rooms that we hosted the co-working sessions in. Yes, as I said, it was hard initially, but my body started to get into a rhythm. I didn't need to negotiate with myself. And interestingly, what I found is that on a Saturday and a Sunday, I don't get up at 5:30, right? It's like my body knows nobody's there, you're good, have a lie-in. So I'll probably get up at about 7 on a Saturday. But essentially, I've started to build the habit muscle. So as I said, that snooze button, negotiating, pleading with myself for more time in bed isn't there, because I'm seeing the fruit of the 2 hours that I dedicate, but also I know that the people that attend are benefiting and they're expecting me to show up. So I'm going to do that. So I run 2 separate co-working sessions. So one is for the LinkedIn Strategy Lab. That's at 6 a.m. Then at 7 a.m. there's a separate co-working session that I facilitate, and that's separate to the LinkedIn Strategy Lab. But effectively, I've got 2 hours each day of ring-fence time, and I work on a range of different things. So it could be something to do with one of my communities. Maybe I'm working on the prompts for Lisa, or editing course content. Maybe I'm learning something. There's something that I want to dedicate time to understanding, to doing research, to really going all in on. Maybe I'm checking emails. It could be just an admin day, or maybe I'm editing videos. And I think some of my co-working time now will be dedicated to thinking about the videos, to thinking about what it is I want to talk about, doing light edits, creating the thumbnails, all the ancillary bits that go along with having a presence on YouTube. In reality, I like to do the work that I know I probably won't find time for in the day. Once the delivery starts, once WhatsApp starts pinging, once, there's demands in the home, there are things that just quietly fall off of your list. So those get handled early doors, first thing in the morning. And more recently, what I've started doing is to use some of the time to walk on my walking pad. I'll pray, I'll listen to worship music, I'll read a devotional. And I really like that evolution, because I don't want this 6 a.m. routine to just become get up early to do more, to squeeze in more, to extend your day, because that's not freedom, and that would start to feel like a chore. My goal now is to just be really deliberate with how I start my day, to plan the day, to plan for the week ahead, to learn something, to think, to have time to stop and think, and to plan and to strategize, to pray, and sometimes to move my body. And that's important, especially as I near the big 50, right? I'm starting to be more cognizant of the fact that I do spend a lot of time at my desk, behind my laptop, not moving as much as I used to when I worked in an office. I had to commute, you had to walk upstairs. There was a lot more activity and movement, not so much when you're working from home and you're working for yourself. And I think this is one of the other benefits of having dedicated time. There are things that we say to ourselves that we want to prioritize, we want to get done. But if I can keep it real, if it's not on your calendar, it's very unlikely that it's going to happen. So we say, I need to learn that thing, I need to record that video, I need to edit the thing, I need to write the chapter of the book, I need to sort the funnel, whatever that is for you. We have these goals and these desires, but we don't give them time. We don't dedicate a slot in our diary. And I just think of a meeting that you have to have with a colleague, a boss, a client, right? You wouldn't miss that call, you would be on it. So I kind of think about that ring fenced time that I'm giving for co-working in that same light, if that makes sense. One of the ancillary benefits with the co-working is just the community vibe that we've been able to build and create. There's moments of sharing, whether it's events or tools or insights, whatever. We're really building almost a solid mastermind from this time. And I love that. I didn't expect it, but I love that. And this is where this becomes particularly relevant for Project Freedom 46. Over the next 96 days, I've committed to long form videos, daily long form videos, which sounds wonderful when you're announcing it. But when you wake up and you realize what you've actually committed to, and you're like, oh, I actually have to do the work now. And I already know there'll be days where motivation disappears, where things will get busy. I may be unwell, I may be tired, there might be things in the home that need to be tended to. So if Project Freedom 46 is going to depend on me feeling motivated or inspired, then we're all in trouble. We might as well cancel this now. What I have instead is evidence. I have receipts from the past year and a bit that I can build a habit, I can build a structure, a system that is going to matter far more than motivation over the next 96 days. So I think as I wrap this up and I start to think about what I'm taking from the past year of consistency, the past year of getting up at 6 a.m, well, year and a bit, getting up at 6 a.m. each morning. The first thing is that consistency needs a home, it needs a structure, it needs time on your diary. If it matters, then put it somewhere that matters. And you don't have to do the same. You don't have to get up at 6 a.m. Don't hear what I'm not telling you. Don't go and say Chelena said to be successful, to have freedom, I need to get up at 6 a.m. That's not what I'm saying. You decide for yourself when is the appropriate time. But if it's not on your calendar, loves is literally not going to happen. I think the second thing that I have learned and extracted from this way of working is about accountability, having that running body, having that community of people that ensure that you show up. It reduces willpower, and just knowing that there's somebody else on the other side of a screen that's waiting for me and could be waiting for you makes all the difference. The third thing is about repetition, creating identity. In the beginning, yes, it was a struggle. I had to try to get up for 6. Now, getting up early is literally just a part of who I am. It now forms a part of my weekday identity at the very least. And then the fourth thing is that protected time doesn't have to mean constant productivity. It could mean learning something. It could mean just sitting and thinking. It could be praying. It could be exercising. It could be planning your day, your week, your month. The point is deciding how I want to use my time, how you want to use your time, and how you want your day to start, rather than the day just starting without you and you constantly feeling as though you're chasing your tail and trying to play catch up. So I've shared what my mornings look like. I've shared how this started, who I've become in the process, the benefits to others, what I've been able to focus on in that time. So I think the question that I would pose to you is, what is it that you keep saying matters, but you still haven't attached any protected time to? Maybe it is content creation, maybe it's your admin, maybe it's building your products, your offer, writing the book, creating the course, maybe it's learning a new skill, maybe you feel AI is racing ahead without you and you want to actually dedicate time to catch up. And then go on and ask yourself, what structure could you create that is going to make showing up easier? Is it a regular time? Is it an accountability partner? Is it a co-working session? Maybe a group? Maybe you have a buddy that you check in with to ensure that you're making progress and momentum on the things that matter to you. I don't think for the majority of us is that we lack ambition. I think we lack the structure to carry that ambition, especially when the motivation disappears. So this is one of the structures that sits behind my business. 2 hours every weekday morning, 6 a.m. and 7 a.m. It literally started from a TikTok experiment, moved into a community practice, and then now somewhere along this journey, it has taught me that consistency, the intentionality, that I can be a person that shows up even when I don't feel like it. And that's going to be essential on this journey. The next 96 days of showing up with daily long form videos is going to require that system, is going to require the accountability buddy, is going to require me really digging in and forming my identity as somebody who creates on YouTube on a daily basis. So if you have just discovered me for the first time, I'm Chelena. I'm a LinkedIn and a visibility strategist. And if you are a coach, a consultant, an expert, and you are also interested in going on a freedom journey and finding what systems, what structures, what things work, what things don't work, right? Stick around, subscribe, follow along on this journey, because we're going to be figuring it out together. I don't have all the answers, but through these next 96 days, I'm sure that there will be gems and pearls of insight that fall for us all. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.